All right, I want to bring in Tom Belger for a look at overseas action. Tom, overseas markets looking pretty good too.
Hi, Brian. Yeah, clear rally in Europe as well this morning. Clear link to hopes of recovery as well as the vaccine you've mentioned. More countries are easing their restrictions this week. Even in Italy, one of the worst hit countries in the world. From today, you can go to bars, you can go to restaurants, you can even go and get your hair done. But I think it's worth saying, obviously, the just how fragile this recovery feels. A lot of European indices last week, as you were saying as well, had their worst week since March, and infection rates have been ticking up in some countries since they started easing those lockdowns. So one analyst said today the stock recovery really driven by those ultra loose monetary conditions and really the longer term threats not being quite considered enough. Another analyst said it's like a phony war. If you excuse the constant war metaphors people are coming out with, we're just in wait and see mode, though. So it makes sense over just how far economies can reopen with social distancing, as well as just how threatened that reopening might be by a second wave. And yeah, everyone really waiting to see those latest infection rates over the next week or two.
And Tom, we're seeing markets here in the U.S. Pop in response to that Moderna vaccine news. But really, the vaccine news, favorable vaccine news, started overseas with AstraZeneca this morning.
Yeah, dozens of trials going on around the world. So a lot of attention on Moderna, but also on AstraZeneca. They started trials I think it was mid-April, and they're saying they could get results as early as this month. It's just one of dozens of trials, but it is quite striking to have AstraZeneca signing up a global licensing deal with Oxford University on this. The latest announcement yesterday was of new government funding and an aim to make the first 30 million doses available by September. So quite striking timelines there. Obviously, a pretty significant game changer if that happens. What's also spelled out, interestingly, by the government is that the UK would be first in line if this vaccine pulls off. So while developing countries will also be next in the queue, it does raise quite big questions, really, about just how helpful for the wider world a vaccine really is if you get countries prioritizing themselves first.